Boker Tov. Today's daf is daf Kuf Nun Gimel in Baba Basra, as we learn for Achenu Kol Bais Yisrael, Surim Batzar V'Shivya, and also for my late grandmother, Fei Gechaya Bas Avram Tzvi Halevi, and who was murdered on this day 82 years ago in Treblinka, together with most of her children and grandchildren. So we're up to a few lines down on Kuf Nun Gimel Aleph, Hayit Matnasa, at the end of the fifth line. There was a gift. A man had given a gift, and the star, it said in the star that he gave a gift deed, and it said in the star, B'chaim uv'mavas, I'm giving it to you in life and in death. Now, mavas means like giving to him, and when he dies, that means like his matnas shkimera, which is chal after death. Now, the recipient, and apparently the man survived, right? And the person who gave it survived. And he says, I gave it to you when I was a shkimera. The recipient said, no, you were healthy at the time, and you gave it to me in life while you were alive. That means you can't go back on it. You can't renege. So this was the question. It was written behind Bavas. Rav Amarei Kaman Shchimah, because he said in death. Shmuel Amarei Kaman Aspar. It's like the gift of a healthy person, which you cannot retract. Rav Amar Harei Kaman Shchimah. Since it says in death, he meant to say after death. It says also b'chayim when he's alive. Simon b'yalma d'chayim. He just wants to start off a good life. He can just say, I'm going to die. He doesn't want to say I'm going to die. Like Rashbam says that the wide lines, the middle wide lines, not the widest lines, but the last of the middle wide lines. He says shelo rotza liftoch peh l'satan. He didn't want to say in death like I'm going to die. So he said in life and in death, but he really meant to say after he dies. Yeah.
Said B'chaim, he said first.
Right, he said B'chaim first.
As soon as he says B'chaim, it's not a shemera.
Okay, so that's how you look at it. That's the machlokas here. Rav says no. He only added on the word B'chaim because he didn't want to say I'm going to die right now. Al titzach peh l'satan. So he said in life, but he really meant to say and in death, meaning I'm giving to after I die, which is a matnas shchimera, and therefore he can retract if he survived. That's the whole issue over here because he survived. Pardon?
He wrote it?
He wrote it. Yeah, it was written down. It was written down.
That a person who says something.
He doesn't have to write it down. Correct. The Shemira doesn't have to write it down. Even if he just says it, it's if it's written down. But here it was written down. His words were written down, and it said B'chaim uvamaves. So what does that mean?
Don't after you say Lashon Achron, that's what he.
No. Because they were written together. The Lashon Achron is if he changed his mind. If he first said one thing and then he said something else. Here are the things. They were contradictory, but and that's also a question, Lashon Achron, Lashon Rishon. But here it's written, that's when he spoke something, but here it's written down. When it's written down, he meant to say both. So which one is the main one? Is it Mapus or B'chaim? Rav says, no, he really meant to say Shchimera. That's why he said after I die. He just said life as if to say, he didn't want to say I'm going to die right away. He says, in other words, Koloma, Rashbam says, the first of the very wide lines, I hope I'll live. I hope I'll live and I won't die. But in case I die, this should be given to you after I die. That's how Rav learns the Lashon in the star that says B'chaim uvamaves. That's Rav's opinion. Ushmuel Amar, Harei Kamat Nasbari. No, you look at the first words that he said. He said B'chaim, he meant to give it right now, and therefore he cannot retract. Mirach Sibei B'chaim. Mechaim comes, since this B'chaim means given. So what does he say? Uvamaves. So I say in death. Come on, Damar Me'atavam to say, I'm giving it to you when I die, and it'll stay with you forever. Even after I die, it'll be yours forever. So that's the question, how you interpret the words. Amrin Adar, they said in Ardar, the town of Shmuel, comes to Rav. They said in Ardar themselves said, the halacha is like Rav, meaning that it's not Shchimera, and if he survived, he can retract. Amarava, Iksib Mechayim, Kana. Rava adds on, if he says Mechayim, he didn't say it's a gift to you in life and in death. So you could say, did he mean only in death after he dies, or he means b'chaim? If he says mechayim while I'm alive, from the life, that's so. Rav says if he says mechayim, then he acquires it, even though the halacha is like Rav that b'chaim of mavis. You look at mavis. If he said mechayim, he acquires it. Amar meimer less Rav. No, lachas like Rav makes no difference. If he said b'chaim or mechayim, If he said Bechayim or Mechayim, Uvamaves, he means to say it's a Matan Shchimera. Omalei Rav Ashi Lameimer Pshita. Obviously, it's not like Rava, because Rav said, if he said Bechayim Maves, he means B'Maves. Domer Nardach Sikvas Rav Lachos like Rav. Now, the same, I might think Bechayim Motor Rav. I might think, no, Rav is only saying when he said Bechayim, B'Maves. In life, he just means to say, I should be alive. He didn't want to be Tifta Pelasad. I should say, I hope I'll live. Ad Me'aves, we say. I want him to live. I hope I will live. And as I might think, if he said Bechayim, he meant life. But if he said Mechayim, he meant to give it even from now. Kamash Mula, no, the Rav is not motor, and Rav holds whether you say Bechayim or Mechayim, makes no difference. Now, who does come into Rav Nachman, Nardor? A man came to Rav Nachman in Nardor. Now, Rav Nachman did live in Chutz La'aretz, came to Nardor with this kind of a question. It says Bechayim Mavis, Shadrei l'kamid Rav Yirmiyah bar Abba. And he sent the man with this question. Rav Nachman didn't want to paskin in Nardor, because Nardor was Shmuel's town. So he didn't want to paskin like Rav there. So he sent the man to Rav Yirmiyah bar Abba, who was a Talmud of Rav, L'Shum Tami. So that's the name of the place, Shum Tami, which was a place where Rav Yirmiyah bar Abba lived, and he was a Talmud of Rav, and there he could have paskin like Rav. Amar, Hachas, or Shmuel, this is the town of Shmuel, Nardor is Shmuel's town. Hechanavi Kavasi to Rav. How can we paskin like Rav in Nardor? Even though Nardor himself paskin like Rav, but in Nardor, the town of Shmuel, it wouldn't be proper to paskin against Shmuel, even though the halach was like Rav. How you just like him at Rava? A lady came before Rava. What happened over here? She had given a gift. She had given a gift away, and she wrote B'chaim Mechayim Umavis. Wrote Mechayim. Now, what did Rava say? Rav said that whether you write B'chaim Mavis or Mechayim Mavis makes a difference. It's a shchimera. Why did you mention death? To say I'm giving it after I die, meaning shchimera. And he just said B'chaim to say long life. May I have a long life, but after I die, this should go to you. At Matna shchimera. Okay. So she came before Rava. Now, clearly, just to point this out, because it'll be effective later on, it said that we started by saying it was a matana of a shchimira, and it said in it b'chaim uvamavis. The question was, did he mean to give it while he's alive, or did he mean to give it must? Maybe the words uvamavis meant to say only as a shchimira. Okay, so that's what Rav Paskin. But Rava said if he said mechayim, then it's a gift from life. A shchimira can also give it right now if he wants to, right? If he wants to, says, listen, I wanted to give it to you right now while I'm alive, and he gives it to him, can't retract that. It's only if he gives it to him in a way which he says, after he dies, he wants it to go to him. I'm giving it to him, that it should be chal after he dies, and that was the rule of the rabbis. Matan Shchimera works even after death. Here, a woman came before Rava, and it was written in her star, Mechayim Umavis. He paskin like his halacha. He said, Mechayim is a gift from life, and the woman cannot retract. She had given it away, and she wrote Mechayim Umavis, even though she wrote Mavis, and we paskin like Rav. But Rava said, yeah, but if you wrote Mechayim, then it's chal even of life, and you couldn't retract. So she was very upset with that psak. She was bothering him a lot. She was really annoying him. What do you mean? What do you mean? You're not gonna? I can't. I wrote Mechayim. I wrote he paskin Mechayim. I thought the halacha is like Rav. Since I wrote Maves, it's after I die. Because I wrote Mechayim, you're not letting me keep it. In other words, it was a valid gift I can't get back. And she was bothering Rava. Rava wanted to get rid of her. Amalei Rav Papa braid Rav Chanan Safra. He told Rav Papa, Rav Chanan, his scribe, tell you what, write her that she's entitled to it. Okay, she can get it back. But Zil Kosovla, but right at the end, we don't really mean it. How did he write that? Zil Kosovla, write for a document that says what, that she could have it, that that the law's with her and she'll get it back. But right at the end of the document, the rules of a mission that we had been Bamatzia. Because Masocha Lane or Matan. What does that mean? That let's say you hired workers, $5 an hour, and they all agreed, and you have all they're working here, and they got to harvest everything, or it's going to go bad. They come in the middle of the day and they say, we want $10 an hour, we're leaving, we're quitting if you don't pay $10 a day. It's not fair. They agreed on $5 a day, right? So he's allowed to say, okay, I'll give you $10 a day, right? Or he could hire other workers and kick them out, right? So, okay, get out. I'll get other people, even though he agreed to hire them for the day. Or he could fool them and say, I'll give you $10, but lie to them because they're the ones cheating. Hey, Master Shalokog, and they did improperly, so you could also tell them and lie to them. That's what the Mishnah says over there. So either you hire other workers and kick them out, even though you had a contract, but the contract was for $5. Now they want more, so kick them out. Oh, Matan, or you can fool them. So he said, use that Mishnah, just write those words, give that the dinner's with her, she wins, but write those words at the end, effectively saying, I'm really just fooling her. Amra, she said, Litva Arve, may your ship sink. Atuya Kamatasli, you're trying to fool me? She realized what was going on. She was a learned woman. What else goes on? You're trying to fool me? So, and what was the reason why Rava was the servant of her curse? Because he paskined like himself and not like Rav. We said Rav paskined, but he said B'chaim or Mechaim makes no difference. I'm sure Rava B'maya. So he said, may your ship sink. So he put his clothing in the water, that the curse should go on his clothing, that the water should, his clothing should sink. He wasn't it wasn't saved from drowning or from sinking. In other words, it doesn't say that Rava died that way. Maybe it means maybe he had a boat that sank. I don't know. It's not clear. He wasn't saved, and that's from her curse. Says Rashbam. Look in the Rashbam in the widest lines on the same line that it says Maslis in there, where the next Mishnah starts. Before the Mishnah, it says over there, the Alti Kilas Hediot Kalabenech. We learn by Avimelech, etc., from other places. The Chacham say throughout Shas that don't belittle the blessing of a simple man or the curse of a simple man. Don't belittle them. Blessings and curses can have an effect. Alti Kilas Hediot. This woman cursed him, possibly with good reason, because he didn't paskin like Rav, and she cursed him, and therefore the curse had some effect. Says Rashbam, whether you wrote Bechaim or Mechaim, that's simply saying, I hope I'll live a long life, but after I die, this is going to be your gift. So really, we paskin like Rav, that it's a matna shchimira. Says the Mishnah. And this Mishnah is also a continuation of the previous Mishnah. The previous Mishnah had said back then that if you give away everything and he dies, all the chas of somebody else, and if he gave away everything and he survives, then he can get it all back. If he gave away a partial and the other person made a kinyan, then even if he survives, the person gets to keep it. So now the Mishnah says, Lo kasav b'shchimera. The star, let's say he had a star. He told people to write it down, but at the star, whatever they wrote down, he says, I'm giving this guy everything. Of course, if there's Adam that he said that, and while he was dying, that's valid. But now what happened was, there were Adam, we told these, write this down and give it to Yankel, give this gift to Yankel, but it didn't say in the document whether he was a shchimera or not. Lokas b'shchimera. He survived. Now, we don't know for sure if he's healthy. We're going to see Tosa says it's not clear from our Mishnah. But it's not clear. But now he's arguing with them. In other words, the donor, the person giving it away, the shchimera, he has survived in one form or another. It's not clear if he's bari, if he's shchimera, but at this point he's saying I was a shchimera, so I can retract. Right, I can retract. Lo kasab shchimera. It didn't say in the document that it was a shchimera. There's a document here. There's a gift deed. There's a gift. There's a document that says, I'm giving this to Yankel. Now, Yankel says, you were healthy when you wrote it, and therefore I'm entitled to keep it. You can't retract. He says, I was a shchimera. I can retract. I said, no, you were healthy. Can't retract. Meir says, you have to bring a proof that you were a shchimera. Right now, you're a bari. We look at your current situation, right? You look at your current situation. Current situation is you're a bari, so you better bring proof that you were a shchimera. We'll see. Pardon, doctor. So the question is, what is the proof? We're going to see on tomorrow's daf. We're going to discuss what is the proof. Is the proof Adam that he was dying then, that he was sick and dying in bed? Bring proof then, and then he recovered. But if right now he's okay, and he says I was a shchimera then. Rav Meir says you got to bring a proof, right? Look at your situation right now. Right now, you're okay. You're not a shchimera right now. He's not a shchimera right now, but Tosa says it's not clear what he was then. Okay, or it's not clear what he was now. We don't know what he was now, what he was then, rather. Right now, he's okay. He's not, maybe he's not a bari, maybe he's not a shchimera, maybe he's not either one of them. But Rav Meir says, right now he's okay, he's not a shchimera. Clearly now he's not a shchimera. So he says, bring proof that you were shchimera. Then you better bring proof you were shchimera. Or maybe it could be that even if he's a shchimera now, but he says I was a shchimera then as I am now. And Rav Meir says you better bring proof you're a shchimera now. But presumably means that he was a bari now. That's what it sounds like. It sounds more like right now he's okay, right? Bari Yisa, right? And he says you were healthy then, and you can't go back on it. That's what the recipients say. He's a muhsik in it. It's his stuff, right? They want to take the donee, the recipient wants to get it from him. He says, when I said it, when I gave you this gift, when I wrote this gift deed, I was a shchimera, and therefore I'm entitled to retract. And they say, no, you were healthy, and it was a final gift. The gift was final. You can't go back on it. So Rav Meir says, you look at the situation right now. He's a bari, right? Right now he's a bari. He's better bring proof that he's a shchimera. The chacham we pass like the chacham motz mechavel varaya. They're trying to get the money from him. They better prove that he was a bari at that time. Now that was when he survived, and he's arguing with them. Now we're going to tell a story like this. Everybody knows that it was a gift. It says in the gift deed, and the man now has died. It says there, when he was sick, and he was lying sick in bed. Below kosaba, the way to properly write a shchimera document is to say he wrote this when he was sick. He had this written when he was sick in bed, and he died from that disease. He never recovered. But in this document, it was written that he was sick and laying in bed, and it didn't say when we got more and from this sickness, if he died. Didn't say he died directly from this sickness, but he said he wrote it when he was sick and dying. So what do you say? Rabba says, well, the fact is he died, right? He died. So the proof apparently is mashma that he died from that. Look at the kever. He wrote this when he was sick and dying in bed, and he died. So presumably he died from that, and therefore, it's a matna shchimera, right? It's a matna shchimera. You look at it right now. Right now he's dead. And therefore, since he died from that sickness, he wrote it when he's sick and dying in bed. He's giving it to Yankel, and then apparently he died shortly thereafter from that sickness. Therefore, Yankel's entitled to the gift, right? Wait a minute. Maybe he recovered in between. Maybe he recovered and he was choser. We don't know for sure. If it was written in the Shemira, if you write the document, listen, he was sick and dying, and then he died from this sickness. That's clear that it's a matna shemira, and he's entitled to it. Abaya says, no, maybe he recovered in between. It says he was sick and dying, right? He gave that, but maybe he recovered, even though he's dead now, maybe he recovered in between. Amalei Abaya, listen to this. Hashdemas Sfina, if a ship sunk, and there's a lot of people on the ship, now, what do you know? Presumably they all died. Still, we don't know for sure that they died. What's called Mayim She'ein Lem Sof. If they died in a big ocean, you don't know that they all died. Maybe somebody swam away and you didn't see them. If it's called Mayim She'ein Lem Sof, like it's a small lake, and you're standing there for 20 minutes and nobody came out, you were able to see all the banks around the river, around the lake. He didn't come out. He's dead, right? His wife can get married, etc. If she was a Bas Kohen married to Yisrael, who's not allowed to eat truma, right? Married to Yisrael, and they didn't have any children, and he died, now she can go back and eat truma again, right? That's if it's a small lake. But if a ship sunk out in the big ocean, we don't know if he died or not. We don't know. Like questions that happened with 9/11, when it was knocked down, people didn't know there were Jews in there. Did they die or not? We don't know. They didn't have any body parts. We couldn't prove it. So what do? A sfina a ship that sunk. Most people we know are going to die, right? They're out in the middle of the ocean. Still, we put the chumras of both. We assume that maybe he's alive. In other words, maybe let's say in the case of a Bas Kohen married to Yisrael, who's not allowed to eat truma, say he's probably dead. She can eat truma again? No, maybe he's alive. Maybe the husband's alive. And the chumra mesim. The other hand, let's say the husband was a Kohen and she was eating truma because of her husband, right? So what do you say over there? She was eating truma because of her husband. Do you say now she can still eat truma? No, maybe he's dead. Chumra mesim, maybe he died. She can't eat truma now. We don't know. So you put the chumras of both, even though, right? That's the rule, right? You put the chumras of both, even though, again, most people who are sick survive, right? Go to the hospital. Most people go into the hospital. Well, it depends on the hospital, but most people go into the hospital, survive. They come out. They come out of there in a wheelchair. They come out, but they come out, right? Most people come out. That's the rule. Most people who are sick, we assume, live. It's over here too. Just because the guy was sick doesn't mean that he didn't recover. So maybe he recovered in between and he retracted. That's what a bias sheet is. Amarab, we'll see. We paskin though, like, even though Abai said that we paskin like Rabba, says the Rashbam. Tos says, Amrafuna Breder of Yeshua, Kamanos Lahar Shmaita. Who does this go like? To Rabba. When Rabba says over here, no, you assume that he died, meaning he wrote this, he says when he's sick and dying, and then he died. So we assume he died from that. You go look at right now. Right now, since he died, we assume he died from his sickness. Hashmaita, the Rabba, Rav Nassan. Goes like Shita Rav Nassan. And Rashbam says, and Tosas confirms that too, Rav Nassan, the Gemara says that Rav Nassan, Kaimon, we hold like, right, Rav Nassan, the Kaimon Kavasa, we always hold like Rav Nassan, because Rav Nassan was a judge, and he always delved into the deep aspects of the law, and therefore we pass like Rav Nassan. And since Rab over here went like Rav Nassan, we pass like Rab. We look at the current situation. Now, in this case, this is not the exact case of our Mishnah. In our Mishnah, the man survived, and he's saying, "I was a shchimera when I wrote it. It didn't say, you can't tell from the document. The shchimera, all is it's a gift deed, right? It's a gift deed. It's a deed that says I'm giving this to Yankel. Can't tell if he was a shchimera or not. The man, the giver said, the donor says, I was a shchimera, and I retract. So there's no. That's the question. What are the rabbis? Rav Meir says, both of them. We're getting ahead of ourselves. But Rav Meir says he has to bring proof. Look at the Mishnah, right? The Rav Meir says, listen, right now he's healthy. Let's assume he's healthy. He better bring a proof that he's a shchimera. What proof are we talking about? Witnesses, presumably, right? That's what we're going to see tomorrow. Tomorrow is going to deal with it. Is it witnesses or is it something else? And then the Chum say they both use the rule of the raya. What's the raya? Do you bring witnesses that he was in? Witnesses is the simple answer. We're going to see another answer in tomorrow's Gemara, but that's what we mean. You better bring witnesses. According to Meir, he better bring witnesses that he was a shchimera. Lacking witnesses, you assume that he's a bari, just like right now. Now, Rav Meir apparently also goes like Rav Nassan, that you look like that you go with the situation of right now, And even though we pass like the Chum say the recipient has to bring a proof. He has to bring a proof that he was a bari at the time, but the proof presumably is Adam. Okay, back in our Gemara. So we say Rabbah, who says that you look at the current situation, he's dead in the grave. We assume he died from that sickness. Goes like Rav Nassan, the Tanya. Mi motzi miyad mi. Now Rashbam says mi motzi miyad mi is like the case of our Mishnah when there's a document that there was a matana. It didn't say matnas bari. It didn't say matnas shchimera like our Mishnah. One says the recipient says you were healthy and therefore the gift was a final gift. You can't you can't retract. And the giver says, the donor says, no, I was a shchimera. Who wins? Mi motzi miyad mi. Who motzi miyadam? Okay, the Tanakama says he could take it from them, right? Because most of mechaber of a raya. Who motzi miyadam below raya? Because he's the muhsik, and he's like the muhsik, right? The haim ain't motzi miyad of raya. They have to bring proof because it's most of mechaber of raya. They want to take it from him. He's the muhsik. Rabbi Yaakov. You look at who's the muhsik, who's holding on to the money. He's holding on. It's his money, the donor's money. They have to bring proof. Rav Nassan says, no, in Barihu, if he's healthy right now, he's got to bring a proof that he was a shchimera. Now, this sounds like Rav Meir, right? In Barihu, if he's healthy right now, you look at the current situation. Im shchimerahu, if he's a shchimera right now, if he's a shchimera right now, they have to bring a proof that he was healthy. In other words, you look at the current situation right now. In our Mishnah, it's not clear what he is right now, right? But Rav Nassan says, you look at the current situation. Okay, Rabbah, who says, in the case where the star was written, when he was sick and dying, he gave this away, and then he died. In fact, he actually died. So Rabbah said, well, since he actually died, we assume that he died from that death. That's what Nassan says. You look at his situation right now. If he's healthy right now, they have to bring a proof that he was if he's he has to bring a proof he's a shchimera. If he's a shchimera now, they have to bring proof that he was a bari. So therefore, Rabbah is going like Rav Nosson, and therefore Rashbam says we paskin like Rabbah because we paskin like Rav Nosson, and Rav Nosson's talking about in the case of our Mishnah. Even though in our Mishnah we say Hamotzi Mechavel of Araya, we paskin like the Chachamim against Rav Meir, Hamotzi Mechavel of Araya. But in this similar case, you could argue and say in our Mishnah it's not clear what he is right now. But Rav Nosson clearly says that if you look at the current situation, you don't look at the muhsik of the money, right? If you look at on the face of it, our Mishnah goes like Rabbi Yaakov. He has to, if they want to get the money, they have to bring a proof from Motzi Mechavel of Araya. And Rav Nosson apparently is going like Rav Meir. They didn't barihu. You look at the current situation right now. Current situation right now is if he's healthy, he has to bring a proof that he was a shchimera. And our Mishnah, the pshat is that he's healthy right now. But it's not so clear. Rav Nosson says it depends what he is right now. If he's a shchimera, from the fact that Rav Meir says he has to bring a proof that he was a shchimera, it sounds like he's not a shchimera right now, like he's a bari right now. Okay, so we said Rabbah goes like Rav Nosson, and therefore we paskin like Rabbah. You look at the current situation, he has to bring both. Amar Rabbi Lazar. Rabbi Lazar says like this: Ulatuma kemachlokes, and legabi tuma. What do you mean legabi tuma? We'll see in a minute what that means. Is the same machlokes. What do you mean by that? Do you look at the current situation, the way it is right now, or do you look at the chazaka, right? Rabbi Yaakov says you look at the chazaka. A chazaka is that the money was in his hands, the donor's hands, and a Motzi Mechavel Araya, they have to bring a proof. Rabbi Nosson says you look at the current situation. What is he right now? If he's a shchimera right now, they have to bring a proof that he was a bari then. If he's a bari now, he has to bring a proof that he was a shchimera there. What are the gabi tuma? The Tanan. Bika. If you have a closed-in valley, like a walled-in valley, in the summer months, it's Rosh Hashanah Shabbos because it's enclosed, so you can't carry something from there into Rosh Hashanah, or Rosh Hashanah Latuma. So in the summer months, since it's enclosed all year round, it's a Rosh Hashanah. But Lagabi Tuma, it's Rosh Hashanah. What do you mean Lagabi Tuma? If there's a Suffolk Tuma, we learn from Sota. Suffolk Tuma Shusiyachid is Tame. Suffolk Tuma Shusarabim is Tar. It's a Suffolk. You're not sure if you're Tar, Tame or not. If it's Rosh Hashanah, it's Xeris Akasa. Rosh Hashanah, you assume you're Tar. Shusiyachid Tame. Okay. So it's a Rosh Hashanah Tuma. Why? Because since they don't plant there in the summer is the season after it's harvested, and they don't plant there. So everybody walks there. People use it as a walkway. And therefore it's like Rosh Hashanah. So if a man went into this bika in the summer months, and he's not sure when he went in, right? In other words, this place, let's say, was known to have some tumah there, or it's Suffolk if he walked in there or not, and then afterwards they found that there was some tumah there or not. So if it's Rosh Hashanah, then he's tar. Rosh Hashanah is tar. And if he walked in and be most like Shamim or Shusiyachid in the winter months when they plant there, people aren't allowed to walk there, and therefore it's like Shusiyachid. This man. So again, the bika the most like Shamim in the winter months it's Rosh Hashanah Lakan. Both for Shabbos. For Shabbos, since it's enclosed, it's Rosh Hashanah anyway. In the winter months, it's Rosh Hashanah both for Shabbos and for Tumah. So what do we mean there? A man walked into this area and he's not sure. He walked into this bika and he's not sure when he walked in. Is he Tumah or not? So if you look at the chazaka of the person, well, he walked in there. We're not sure when he walked in. If you look at the chazaka, he was tar before he went in. You keep him on the chazaka. It's a suffix. We don't know. Did he go in the winter? If he went in the winter, he would be tameh. If he went in the summer, he would be tar. We don't know. You look at the chazaka. Okay, that would be the opinion of Rabbi Yaakov. You go basa chazaka. Where's the money? In the case of our Mishnah, the money is with the donor. He gets to keep it. Here too, you look at the chazaka. Whereas Rav Nosson, who says no, you look at the current situation. It depends on when he asked. Did he ask in the winter? Or did he ask in the summer? If he asked in the winter, he came to Shiloh before us. Well, right now, if he would have walked in right now, he would be tamei. Therefore, we pass him that he's tamei because you look at the current situation. If the question was in the summer, then he would be tahor. Rashbam says like this. Rashbam, Amr Abelazar. Yeah, so Amr Abelazar. Take a look at Amr Abelazar, the fourth of the wide lines. Amr Abelazar will tell you some of the common stuff comes Shusi Yachid Sveikotam, Shusa Rabim, Sveikotor. Come on, the Bika be Mosacham, Shusa Rabim, Lutum Musik Sham, Shusi Yachid Lutuma. So okay, just like Rabbi Yaakov, and it goes on, just like Rabbi Yaakov and Nelson argue by Matanastam, if you look at the current situation, look at the Chazaka, the same machlokus would be over there, right? So therefore, and then he goes on, take a look at Rashbam further down. Ditfnan Bika, halfway down in the wide lines in Rashbam. Bika, Mesiyakas Begeder Sav, if it's got a wall around it. Rishus Yochid Lishabas, Afilu Yikar for fields, even if it's a large enclosed area, big enough time, you can't throw from one area to another. It's not a hidden place. It's not a place where people, because people walk there. All right. And in the summer, most like Shamim, there's planting there. So now back in the Gemara. So the same machlokas, whether you look at the current situation or do you look at the Chazaka, same machlokas there of the Tumah in that area. Amar Rava, back in the Gemara, 4 lines from the bottom of the page. Amar Rava, Lo Shanu El Shalo Avru Alav. This that we say that it remains a Rishus HaYachid for Tumah in the I'm sorry, that it remains a Rishus HaYachid, a Rishus HaRabim for Tumah in the summer months. That's only if it hasn't passed a winter. Lo Shanu El Shalo Avru Alav. There was no Yom HaSikShamim since this suffix came up. If the winter months pass by, in other words, once the winter, that means the question came up, if at first there was never a winter there, meaning he walked in to this area before the winter ever started. Now there was never a whole, in other words, there was no whole rishus. He knows that he passed through this area, he went into this area. He's not sure if he was there in the summer or in the winter, which is current. So if he walked in the summer months before the winter ever happened, then he would be tor. If he walked in the winter months, then he would be tamei, according to Rav Nassan. You look at the current situation. All Rav is adding on, and some say he's arguing with Rav Blazer, saying, listen, this that you say that in the summer months he would be tar, that's only if a whole winter has not passed by since it started. But if a winter has passed by, even if it's summer now, but once there was a winter there, then it would be Rishus Yachid either way. That's his opinion. He differs with Rabbi Lazar. He argues with Rabbi Lazar.
In the initial case, a sekseka here.
Yeah.
And it's a suffix if it's tuma, and it's a suffix if he was there in the winter.
No, there was. They know that he knows that there was a. Isn't it a specs faker? You mean? Is it a specs faker? No. So the assumption is that the place was vaday tome. It was vaday. No, they knows that there was a dead body there. There's a body, the dead body there. So it's a suffix if he went in and
What's the difference if it's winter or summer? I mean, there's a dead body there.
Yeah, no, right. But the question is if he touched the dead body. So if he touched the dead body, so if it's a suffix tama b'shus in suffix tama b'shus harabim, so we go l'kul and we say it's suffix tama b'shus harabim, you're tahar. If it's now if you say. Yeah. If it's in Rishus, if it's Rishus, something comes Rishus Yachid, you go l'chumra. In other words, it's a suffix. Indeed, it's a suffix if he touched the tuma when he's there. So you could say it's a spek sveka, but that's a spek sveka in the Maisa. That's not. It's a spek sveka what he did. If he did this and if he did that. If suffix tuma, if it would be a suffix if there was any tuma there. And a suffix, if he touched it there, you can say it's a spek sveka. If there's tuma over there, so the question is did he walk into an area which is tamei, or do you walk in an area which is tar? Or if it's a rishus yachid, you go lechumra and you say that he's tamei. If it's a rishus rabim, you say it's tar, and he's tar, and it's a suffix, and therefore you assume that it's tar. Okay, all right. Now tomorrow's Gemara goes into the question of the raya on both. Rav Meir said that he has to bring proof that he was a shchimera. The document doesn't say what it is. It didn't say he's a shchimera. So we don't know. We don't know. It's not like the case where it was written that he was dying and then he died. And Rabbah says, you look at the current situation. Since he died, he probably died from that. And therefore, he's a matna shchimera. And Abayas disagreed with it. He says, no. Rov Cholon L'chaim. Maybe he survived in between. He changed his mind. That's when he died. Over here, we're talking about a Mishnah when it didn't say either one. But the recipient has a document. You gave me this gift deed. I have this deed. But he says, yeah, when I wrote it, I was a shchemera. So Rav Meir says, you got to bring proof that you were a shchemera. What's the proof? That's what the Gemara is going to go on to say. What's the proof? Is the proof Adam or is it some other proof? We'll see that tomorrow, Mr. Shem. Have a good day, everybody.